A week after an AI safety advocate wins the Nobel Prize, the AI X-risk conversation heats up yet again. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. New technologies always come with their fair share of controversy. Sometimes there are new behavior patterns that older generations think are going to be destructive among younger generations. Sometimes the concern is more around jobs in the economy and what the impact of new automation technology will be. With AI, we have all of that, but we also have this bigger question of whether this technology will accidentally at some point end the world. For that reason, as you can imagine, the debates around AI can be somewhat more contentious than usual. Last week, one of the leading voices in the AI safety movement, who is pushing for more caution in how we handle and progress with regards to AI, Geoffrey Hinton, won a Nobel Prize for physics. He used the occasion to hope that the awarding of the prize would make people take his warnings more seriously. However, one of Hinton's fellow Turing Prize award winners from back in 2018, Yann LeCun, has a very different take on this question. As the Wall Street Journal put it in an article this weekend, this AI pioneer thinks AI is dumber than a cat. Yann LeCun, an NYU professor and senior researcher at Meta, says warnings about the technology's existential peril are, quote, complete BS. Now, this is, of course, not a new position for Yann. Back in May, he tweeted, "It seems to me that before urgently figuring out how to control AI systems much smarter than us, we need to have the beginning of a hint of a design for a system smarter than a house cat. Such a sense of urgency reveals an extremely distorted view of reality." Now, the context for this post is former head of superalignment at OpenAI, Yann LeCun, stepping away from that post. Yann LeCun continues, "It's as if someone had said in 1925, we urgently need to figure out how to control aircrafts that can transport hundreds of passengers at near the speed of sound over the oceans. It would have been difficult to make long-haul passenger jets safe before the turbojet was invented and before any aircraft had crossed the Atlantic non-stop. Yet we can now fly halfway around the world on twin-engine jets in complete safety. It didn't require some sort of magical recipe for safety. It took decades of careful engineering and iterative refinements. The process will be similar for intelligent systems. It will take years for them to get as smart as cats, and more years to get as smart as humans, let alone smarter." Now, the big point here is where Yann says, don't confuse the superhuman knowledge accumulation and retrieval abilities of current LLMs with actual intelligence. And this is really the nexus of his point. Back in the journal, LeCun thinks that today's AI models, while useful, are far from rivaling the intelligence of our pets, let alone us. When I ask whether we should be afraid that AIs will soon grow so powerful that they pose a hazard to us, he quips, "You're going to have to pardon my French, but that's complete BS." LeCun's view is that modern LLMs are no more than a fancy simulacrum of intelligence. He acknowledged that they display some features of cat-like intelligence, such as persistent memory, reasoning, planning, and an understanding of the physical world. However, he noted, "We are used to the idea that people or entities that can express themselves or manipulate language are smart, but that's not true. You can manipulate language and not be smart, and that's basically what LLMs are demonstrating." Basically, LeCun believes that LLMs are fundamentally incapable of reaching AGI, no matter how many GPUs the hyperscalers throw at them. Writes the journal, his bet is that research on AIs that work in a fundamentally different way will set us on a path to human-level intelligence. These hypothetical future AIs could take many forms, but work being done at Meta's fundamental AI research team to digest video from the real world is among the projects that currently excite LeCun. The idea is to create models that learn in a way that's analogous to how a baby animal does, by building a world model from the visual information it takes in. Now, there are many who agree with LeCun's points, there are many who disagree, and then there's the take in the third of the 2018 Turing Award winners, Yoshua Bengio, who said, "I hope he is right, but I don't think we should leave it to the competition between companies and the profit motive alone to protect the public and democracy. That is why I think we need governments involved." Anyways, there's nothing particularly new in this article. It's mostly just interesting in the context of the Nobel Prize being awarded last week and that kicking up another round of this debate. Next up, Google is the latest big tech firm to go nuclear to power their AI future. The hyperscaler has inked a deal with Kairos Power to construct a series of small nuclear reactors. The reactor design uses molten salt cooling technology, which is intended to reduce meltdown risk to zero. Google will help finance and has agreed to purchase energy as an anchor customer. The first reactor will be a 50 megawatt demonstration unit in Tennessee, followed by commercial scale units at 75 megawatt capacity. The deal is for 500 gigawatts in total, with power supply expected to begin between 2030 and 2035. Last year, Kairos was granted the first permit in 50 years to begin construction on a new type of nuclear reactor. They're still awaiting final approval of the design from federal nuclear regulators. Now, unlike Microsoft's deal to restart reactors on 3 Mile Island, this plan seems more focused on investing in future energy needs in a sustainable way, rather than dealing with current AI demand. Google Senior Director of Energy and Climate, Michael Terrell, said, "We are looking for net new clean power. We are not looking to repurpose existing clean power." If you are looking for one of the big society-level conversations that's going to accelerate because of AI, even though it's not exactly about AI, nuclear has to be at the top of that list. Next up, in the world of the constantly shifting talent race between the big AI labs, VP of Gen AI research at Microsoft, Sebastian Bubek, has jumped ship after spending 10 years at the tech giant. A Microsoft spokesperson said, Sebastian has decided to leave Microsoft to further his work toward developing AGI. They added that Microsoft looks forward to continuing their relationship through Bubek's work with OpenAI. Now, this is an interesting one. Bubek had been working on Microsoft's Phi LLMs. These are smaller than traditional frontier models and are really important for on-device AI. Now, at this stage, it's unclear whether Bubek will continue this particular work at OpenAI or move on to a new project, but it's still being seen as a pretty big deal. It's also relevant for OpenAI, as a lot of what we've been hearing around OpenAI lately is people leaving the company, not people joining the company. On that note, our final story, the turnover at OpenAI could be set to continue with reports that former CTO Mira Murati is recruiting for her new venture. According to the information, Murati has been speaking with OpenAI employees about joining her new venture, though she hasn't disclosed exactly what the venture would be. It's not clear yet whether she's joining an existing company, joining another former OpenAI leader at their new company, or starting something on her own. AI entrepreneur Bindu Reddy writes, Mira Murati, the ex-CTO of OpenAI, is raising VC funds and poaching talent from OpenAI to get going on her thing. The more the merrier. Soon we will have over 10 ex-OpenAI startups competing with OpenAI. This speaks to how big this market is going to be. That's going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief Headlines edition. Next up, the main episode.